Welcome back to the continuation of our revision class on BECE. That's the theory section, and it won't take us much of a time to finish it, owing to the fact that just 2 questions are posed and students are tested in this angle on writing skills. Your ability to write will be tested. So we look at these 2 questions. I tell my students, I do just 3 at this time, so I tell them that you have just 2 questions to answer, and there is no choice. You're not making choices. You have essay writing and you have letter writing. So the type of essay that would come out is what you don't know, and the type of letter that would come out is what you don't know. And the funny thing about it is you just have about, if I'm not mistaken, the last time was 30 minutes to write 2 essays. So approximately you have 15 minutes to attempt a particular essay type and another 15 minutes to attempt the letter. So at this juncture, your speed will be tested and accuracy will as well be tested. So I've made out time in one of my videos to talk about essay writing. There we looked at the 4 types of essays we have at the junior secondary level. You have the narrative essay, you have the descriptive essay, you have expository essay, and you have the argumentative essay. Now it's very important for us to look at the the verb word for each of these essay types. Now when you're asked to write a narrative essay, obviously you are going to narrate a story, that's to tell a story. So the verb form of narrative is to narrate, you're telling a story. So if you are asked to write a descriptive essay, you have to describe. You could be asked to describe a thing, you could be asked to describe a person, you could be asked to describe an atmosphere, all right? So, or you could be asked to describe a dress or an event you attended that you enjoyed so much. Then under expository essay, you could be asked to expose, that's the verb word, to expose. Now I also let my students understand that expository essay is synonymous to explanatory essay. As a matter of fact, in expository essay, what you do more or less is to explain a concept, the way something is done, a new way of doing things. And that is why in expository essay, you do more of educating and informing. All right, so you don't have much of narrating things, rather you do more of explaining how things are done or how a particular thing is done, on a new approach to doing something that may be known by people, but there is a new way of doing it. Then finally you have the argumentative essay, which is basically to argue. Now I also would like us to understand that when you're asked to argue, you don't argue from a subjective point of view. You don't argue based on bias. You don't argue because you're prejudiced. You argue on an objective note. So in argumentative essay, examiners look out for references, examiners look out for illustrations, examiners look out for facts, and all right, yes, facts, references, illustrations are all needed. So you don't argue because you feel you want to argue, you want to show your prowess in language, but you argue authentically with facts and illustrations. So that being said, we have before us the first writing, and that is a composition. You've been asked to write a composition on a birthday party you attended. A birthday party you attended. Basically, you'll be asked to write at least 250 words. 250 words. In this type of essay, it is important for you to know that paragraphing is key. When you're writing your essays, you must paragraph your work perfectly. It is very important. Now, the first point of call when writing your essay, your composition, is to do well to title your essay. Your essay has to be titled. So write a composition on a birthday party you attended, an interesting birthday party, or my most enjoyed birthday party. So don't just title your composition as a birthday party I attended. No, that's out of place. You have been asked to write a composition on a birthday party you attended. So you create a catchy title for your composition. A catchy title. So I have given a title. If I'm to write this composition on a birthday party I attended, I'll be captioning it or giving my title as my most remarkable occasion. My most remarkable occasion or my most remarkable party. That will be the title. Then you start off with your introductory paragraph. It is important that you know that in every essay, just like your letter, you have your introduction and you have your conclusion. These two are very important in every essay writing. You must have an introduction and you must have your conclusion. So once you're done with your introduction, you move on to the body of the essay, narrating how the party went, what made it a remarkable one, and how you enjoyed yourself. Characters involved must be put in place. The birthday party, whose birthday party is it? The location of the birthday party, things that were done in the birthday party. So remember, it's a composition, so it's more or less telling a story on what happened. So that's that. So your conclusion will definitely be that you have never seen a birthday party as such, and you hope that the memory keeps on forever, or you look forward to making your own birthday party more remarkable than the one you have experienced. So we'll move on to the second question. Remember, I told you we just have practically 2 questions in the theory of the BECE, and you don't have choices to make. You are attempting the 2 questions in 30 minutes. So you must be conversant with your essays and your letter types. Like I told us, we are not certain about the essay type that will be brought out, and that was why I had to take time to educate us on the 4 types of essays. Articles are essays. We have persuasive writings. They are also essays. But we have looked at the narrative essay, which is a composition. It could be asked to describe a thing. You could be asked to write an argumentative essay on a topic that will be given to you, and you could as well be asked to write an expository essay. So you want to get acquainted with all these, go to our videos and watch on how to write any of these essay types. All right, so we have the second question, which is on letter writing. The first question is on essay writing. The second is on letter writing. Now, basically, people teach 2 types of letter writing, but I don't do that. I try as much as I can, as long as I teach my students, to teach them thoroughly the 3 types of letter writing, not peripherally. I teach them the 3 types of letter writing because formally that's what we have, and students have to be taught that. Okay, so I'll quickly give a peripheral knowledge on the 3 types of letter writing, though we have a video on letter writing in case you want to look at the formal format, feature formal format of a formal letter, of semi-formal or informal. You can watch our video on that, and samples are also written to help you know better how to go about it. This is more or less verbal, but you want to look at samples, you can go online on our videos and check them. Now, we have 3 types of letter writing. We have the formal letter writing, we have the informal letter writing, and we have the semi-formal letter writing. Now, the formal letter writing, as the name suggests, is a business letter. Formal letters are business letters. They are letters that we write to people we do not have close relationship with per se. Yes. Now, another thing I want to point out in formal letter writing is that we write formal letter writing to people who occupy position. All right? You know why I'm emphasizing on it? I'm doing so because you could be asked to write a letter to the class prefect of your class prefect. All right? Write a letter to your class prefect, informing him or her of the activities that happened in class in his absence. In that case, that type of letter is a formal letter. And that is why I said you write formal letters to people who occupy positions, apart from people we don't share close relationships with. Because it's possible that this class prefect of yours is your bosom friend. But now, would you say because she's your bosom friend, you're going to write an informal letter when the instruction is that you write to the class prefect? At that point, it is a formal letter. Reason for saying that we write formal letters to people who occupy positions. So whenever you read a particular question on letter writing, and it boils down to writing to someone who occupies a position, write to the senator, write to the president, write to the editor, write to the senior prefect, write to the principal, write to the vice principal. These are positions occupied. So once it has to do with position, have it at the back of your mind that you are writing to the position. You are writing to the person a formal letter, not an informal letter. Now, what are the features of a formal letter? A formal letter has two addresses, the address of the writer and that of the receiver. A formal letter has salutation, which is strictly sir, dear sir, or madam. If you are sure of the gender of the person you're writing to, you write dear sir if the gender is masculine, and if the gender is feminine, write dear madam. But in case where you do not know the gender of the person you're writing to, it is not out of place for you to write dear sir / madam. That way, whoever that gets hold of it, it's not being slighted. All right, so after salutation is your title. I need not remind us that salutation is written at the same point, or rather the same line where you have the address of the receiver, very close to the margin. You do not paragraph your salutation. Salutation is not paragraphed. It's written close to the margin as it is with the address of the receiver. All right? So immediately after the salutation is the title. What is a title? The title is coined from the topic given to you. If you're asked to write a letter to the principal of your school notifying him of your, or rather notifying him of your absence, yes, no, informing him that you would be absent from school for a period of 3 days or 4 days due to situations beyond your control, which you obviously explain in the body of the letter. So on the title, you could state your title as letter of absence. All right, letter of absence. That's your title. So title of letters or titles written in letters are coined from the topic given. You just don't coin the title. The title is gotten from the topic that you have been given to write. You want to publish a work you have written in one of the famous newspapers. What do? You have been asked to write a letter to the editor-in-chief of Guardian newspaper asking that your work be published in their newspaper. So it would be letter of what? Publication. That's the title. I have coined the title from the question that has been given. That's very important. All right, so after the title, you move to the body of the letter. Obviously, the body of the letter should in detail narrate on what you have given as a title. You shouldn't give a different title and the body is saying something altogether. No. So whatever title you present, the examiner expects to see that elaborated, detailed in the body of your letter. Now, one thing you must understand about formal letters is that we don't have room for pleasantries. There are no rooms for pleasantries. By pleasantries, I mean, how are you? I hope you're fine. That you can do in an informal letter, that you can do in a semi-formal letter, but it is not allowed in a formal letter. So after the body of your letter is your complimentary clause. The complimentary clause is strictly yours faithfully. The Y is written in capital letter, the F is written in small letter. So after faithfully, you observe a comma, you sign, and you write your name in full. Write your name in full. Where your name is lengthy, you write your surname with your initials. Your surname with your initials I hope that is gotten. So I'm moving right away to informal letters. As against the formal letter, the informal letter is a friendly letter, is a private letter, is a personal letter. Informal letters are letters written to people that we have quite close relationship with. We share close ties with them, people like your siblings, people like your parents, people like your immediate uncles, mom's brother, dad's brother, mom's sister, dad's sister. These are people you write informal letters to. Your bosom friends, your friends. You write informal letters to them, your cousins and your close relatives. These are people you write informal letters to. What are the formal formats of an informal letter? In writing an informal letter, you must have at the back of your mind that you are just going to write one address, your own address. That's the address. You write the address of the writer. Immediately after the address of the writer is the salutation. All right, so you have your salutation. Unlike the formal letter where we have a regimented way of writing our salutation, for informal letter, it is not stereotyped, it's not limited to a particular format. So it varies depending on how you see the person. As much as we have informal relationships with people, you will agree with me that how you may address a particular cousin of yours may not be how you address another cousin of yours. You could have a pet name for this cousin while you don't have for this other. So you could address your cousin in her pet name or his pet name, likewise your friend. So you can go beyond dear to dearest, beloved, sweetheart, my love, depending on the relationship you have with this person. So you see that you are not limited to a particular type, to a particular salutation when writing an informal letter. You are not limited to a particular title. All right. So after the title, you go straight to the body of the letter. You go straight to the body of the letter. Now, I do tell my students we should put aside our usual way of saying, how are you? I hope you're fine. How are your parents? As if you're trying to buy time and words. No. Why don't you go about it with, it's been quite a long time, absence grows fonder, it makes the heart grow fonder, it's been a long time I heard from you. I am sorry for not replying your last message. I hope everyone is cool. Other than, how are you? I hope you're fine. Give examiners new things. You know, when you bring on new ideas, it's make people to want to read your work the more. So unlike the formal letter where you don't exchange pleasantries, pleasantries are allowed in informal letter. But another thing I want to point out is this: as much as pleasantries are allowed in informal letter, do not think that your very first paragraph must be pleasantries. The tone of the letter determines if you would exchange pleasantries with whomever you're writing to in the first paragraph. I hope I'm gotten appropriately. Pleasantries are allowed in informal letter, but do not think that pleasantries must be the first thing that takes off a letter, an informal letter. No, the tone of the question will determine if I am to exchange pleasantries in my first paragraph or let it play out in my last paragraph. So finally, you're signing off when you're done with the body of the letter with yours sincerely, not strictly yours sincerely. You could sign off with your friend, your daughter, your son, your favorite cousin, your favorite niece, your favorite nephew. All right, so yours sincerely is basically the formal format of signing off in an informal letter, but we have other forms of signing off. Finally, the semi-formal letter. The semi-formal letter is that type of letter that we write to people we don't have too, or rather so much of a close relationship with. And who are these people we can write semi-formal letters to? Imagine in a class where you have your teacher and you have a teacher who stays in the class with you, who functions as your class tutor. She makes sure you're fine, you're sick, she takes you to the clinic, you have problems, she's the first point of call. All right, that's your class teacher. Now, this very class teacher of yours has suddenly been absent from school for 2 days, 3 days, and you've noticed that she's actually has not been in school for a long time. You want to write a letter to her. You are not able to access phones. You want to write a letter. You know a bosom friend of hers or his who is also a teacher and has always been coming to school. So you want to write a letter to that class teacher of yours. You have to give it to his friend or her friend to give to him or her. What type of letter do you write? You write a semi-formal letter. You are not writing a letter to the class teacher because of the position she occupies. No. You are not writing to your class teacher because she is your friend or your family friend. No. You're writing to your class teacher because you want to show empathy. You don't have so much of a close relationship with her or him, but you know that once in a while she checks up on you and you check up on her. You have this casual, you have this relationship. It's not casual, it's not formal. That's what we call semi-formal. So in that case, you write a semi-formal to your class teacher. You are neither formal in your choice of words, nor are you informal in your choice of words. It's more like a moderate language use. All right. So your address will be needed. Peradventure, that person needs to write back to you. So you have the address of the writer. You don't have address of the receiver. You only have salutation. And in salutation, you write the person's name in full with the title. So if you're writing to Mr. Jerry Mack, it will now be Dear Mr. Jerry Mack. All right. So that shows the semi-formality of that letter. You know, if it were to be a friend, you flex with the pet's name, but that you don't do. If it were to be a formal letter, you use the formal language, which is sir. But here you're not calling your teacher sir nor madam, rather you're writing the person's name in full to show the semi-formality of your relationship with the teacher. Now the language used is neither formal nor informal. As much as possible, do not contract your words. As much as possible, do not use slangs. As much as possible, yes, do not use slangs. Use words in their modest and appropriate way, but not a formal language. All right, so when you want to sign off, yours sincerely, you endorse your signature. That's what similarity shares with the formal letter. Then your name in full, that's the same similarity it shares with the formal letter. It's possible that this teacher of yours could have another person who goes by the name Chinenye. All right, so putting Chinenye Onyaso would make the teacher know, oh, this is my class girl. Remember, you could have Chinenye if you're in year 9, maybe you have year 9A, B, C, and D. You could have Chinenye in 3 arms of the year 9. So you need to write your surname to make the teacher know that it's no other Chinenye other than the one she has in her class or his class. So apart from your class teacher, you could also write a semi-formal letter to a distant uncle of yours. Oh, there was one man that visited us, and Dad told us that the relationship he shares with this very man is quite distant. Oh, it has to do with that grandmother being that uncle's grandmother's cousin. You can imagine that. So it's quite distant. So you want to write a letter to a distant uncle or aunt of yours, then you would be writing a semi-formal letter. You stay in the boarding school. You are not certain about coming back anytime soon. Mommy has informed the school. You have a special liking for your hostel parent, be it a hostel mistress or hostel master, and you feel you want to write a letter to give to mom, so that while mom is going to school to drop letter to the school, mom should as well give to your hostel parent. That type of letter is also a semi-formal letter. All right. So now let's look at the question we have here. It says, write a letter to your friend who has been ill and absent from school for a while, informing him or her of what has been going on in school. You are writing to your friend. So what type of letter did I mention that has to do with friendliness, privacy, and personality? That's the word informal letter. So in this case, I'm kicking off with my letter. What's my first point of call? I have to write my address. I have been told to write to a friend who has been ill. I was not told where this friend resides. So I can flex with my address. What do I mean by that? I can decide that I'm writing to this friend of mine and he is in the same state with me. So there won't be need to put the country, that's Nigeria. If I decide I'm writing to a friend who is outside the country, that means I'll have to put Nigeria. So my address, after my address is my salutation, dearest Jerry. I will start with the body of the letter. Obviously, I need to ask. In this case, there is room for pleasantries. Why? This person in question has been sick. I am bothered. She has not been in school. He has not been in school for quite some time. So it's really going to be a whole lot of pleasantries. It's painful to know that you've been out of school for quite some time. Not having you here around me has taken, or maybe has taken a toll on me. How are you recuperating? Are things getting better around you? I trust you are getting better. I trust God to heal you before exam begins. That's your pleasantry. So remember I said the tone of the letter will determine if you are to use your first paragraph to exchange pleasantries. With this type of letter now, knowing that it's a friendly letter and the person is ill, has been absent from school, it will be way out of place for me to begin to disturb him or her with happenings in school. The person gets bothered immediately. Oh, I've missed a whole lot. No, that's not what it should be. So the first point of call is to make this person know that I care. All right, I'm exercising empathy, sympathy, and how do I do it? By exchanging pleasantries. How are you? I hope you're recuperating. I'm trusting God that you will be better. Do not fret. You will just be okay. All right, so after the body of the letter, I'm signing off. Remember, you are to tell your friend what has been going on in school. 2, 3 things that have been going on in school will not be bad. So you were not told the number of things to tell the person. So you are told to tell the person things that have been happening. So anybody who writes 2 things will get as equal mark as one who writes about 3 or 4 things. So after which you sign off, your friend Chini or your friend Jerry. All right. So I believe that with this, we'll be able to attempt any question either on letter writing or the essay writing. Thanks. I wish you the best of luck the moment you start your exams. Bye.